The main event of WWE TLC 2020 saw Randy Orton take on the Fiend, Bray Wyatt in a bizarre Firefly Inferno match. The only way to win the match was to set your opponent on fire, but no one expected Randy Orton to do what he did. In what was one of the most shocking visuals on WWE TV in a long time, Randy Orton poured gasoline all over the Fiend's body and then set him on fire to close out the show. The sight of the Fiend burning inside the ring will forever be etched in the mind of every fan who watched the show. The reaction to the entire match and the bizarre ending was mixed, as some loved the creativity and storytelling aspect of it, while others considered this to be burial of the Fiend. But nonetheless, fans are intrigued to know what happens next. Is the Fiend gone for good? Let's take a look at 5 things that could happen after Randy Orton set the Fiend on fire at WWE TLC 2020. Be sure to comment down and let us know your predictions and theories. Number 5. The Fiend disappears from WWE TV. The character of the Fiend has arguably been one of the best ones in recent memory. The complex backstory and amazing portrayal by Bray Wyatt of the demonic split personality of himself was certainly a great idea. However, a common discussion since the last year has been whether WWE is overexposing the Fiend. A certain possibility is that after the angle that went down at WWE TLC 2020, the Fiend might disappear from WWE TV, at least for a while. The Fiend being off TV for a few months would certainly build up the anticipation for his massive return, possibly at a stage like WrestleMania. Or maybe the character could be gone forever, but then what happens with Bray Wyatt? Number 4. Bray Wyatt reveals that he is now free from the Fiend. Ever since Bray Wyatt returned with his new gimmick last year and introduced the WWE Universe to the Fiend, fans have been busy speculating theories around his character. One of the most interesting ones has been that Bray Wyatt is, in fact, trapped inside the Firefly Funhouse by the Fiend. If that is indeed the case, did Randy Orton unintentionally free Bray Wyatt from the wrath of the Fiend? That would certainly be an interesting possibility to further the storyline, as we might get to know more interesting details about the origin of this demonic entity. However, this might also lead to the gimmick of Firefly Funhouse coming to an end and Bray Wyatt possibly going back to his Wyatt family leader persona. An interesting possibility could be that the Fiend could still be inside Bray Wyatt's head and make him behave sadistically every now and then. This could ultimately lead to Bray Wyatt versus the Fiend in a cinematic-style match. Such angles are surely tough to pull off, as there is a very thin line between keeping the fans intrigued and playing with their intelligence. But if there's one man who could pull it off, it is Bray Wyatt. Number 3. The Fiend jumps bodies and joins Alexa Bliss. Ahead of WWE TLC 2020, there were several speculations that Alexa Bliss could play a decisive role in the outcome of the Firefly Inferno match between the Fiend, Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. And it did make every sense for her to get involved in some way. However, fans were left disappointed in this case, as Little Miss Bliss didn't make an appearance at TLC. One of the biggest questions coming out of the pay-per-view is, how will Alexa Bliss react to the Fiend getting burnt alive, if he is considered alive in the first place? WWE has clearly established in the last few months that Bliss shares a very deep bond with the Fiend, and one has to wonder to what extent will she go to bring him back. One thrilling idea could be to let the spirit of the Fiend jump bodies and join Alexa Bliss. There have been speculations that Bliss might slowly transform into the reincarnation of Sister Abigail. But instead, could she become the new Fiend? Bliss coming out with a new look and the mask of the Fiend would certainly be one of the coolest visuals ever. When was the last time we saw a supernatural gimmick in WWE's women's division? Number 2. The Fiend gets repackaged and returns with a new look. Bray Wyatt is one of those superstars who use social media to often deliver cryptic messages and further his WWE storylines. His cryptic tweet ahead of the Firefly Inferno match between the Fiend and Randy Orton caught fans' attention and left them wondering what Wyatt is trying to imply from it. The thing about fire is, it does what it pleases. I burn, you burn, we all burn. Eventually. Following the shocking ending of WWE TLC 2020 that saw Randy Orton set the Fiend on fire, Bray Wyatt sent yet another cryptic tweet, saying, "Thank you." The interesting part to note in both the tweets is the use of the red circle emoji, possibly indicating the circle of life. The addition of the image of a cocoon has fueled the speculation of whether Bray Wyatt is hinting at the reincarnation of the Fiend in a new form. After getting unmercifully burnt at the hands of Randy Orton, we might see the Fiend get repackaged and return with a new look. Number 1. The Fiend returns and wins WWE Royal Rumble 2021. At TLC 2020, WWE announced its next pay-per-view as Royal Rumble 2021 is scheduled to take place on January 31, 2021. With Royal Rumble being one of the most highly anticipated shows of the year, speculations have started of who could win the match this year. Well, after what happened tonight, can we see the Fiend go off TV only to return during the men's Royal Rumble match and win it? It would certainly be a sight to behold if the timer counts down to 0 and at number 30, the Fiend enters the match and goes on to eliminate everyone and walk out as the winner. This could set up a mega clash between The Fiend, Bray Wyatt and Universal Champion Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 37, considering how the two of them have unfinished business. Of course, there will be a certain section of fans who might not be very pleased to see The Fiend once again go after a championship, but that would surely be a massive and impactful way to return for him. WWE Jeff Hardy wants to face The Fiend as Willow. While the future of The Fiend is unknown following WWE TLC, Jeff Hardy has made it clear he would like to compete against him, with a twist. Jeff spoke with Digital Spies where he admitted he wants to have a feud with The Fiend, which he believes could start with a tag team partnership. However, he doesn't want to just do it as Jeff Hardy, he wants to bring in one of his alter egos, Willow. I think there's something magical that can happen between Jeff Hardy and Bray Wyatt and The Fiend and Willow, my alter Nero that will come back to the life. I have this huge vision of, like a black wedding dress and Willow's almost like, not him or her, but just God. Some kind of weird figure that doesn't make sense to anybody. Somehow him and The Fiend either team together or either fight each other. I think first, maybe we'll team together and then fight each other. It's crazy, it's very cinematic and I think there's something very special that can happen between the Firefly Funhouse and the Fly Light Zone and the imagination here at my property. I can't wait. I can't wait because it's possible, man, it's totally possible. Following WWE TLC, it is unknown whether or not The Fiend will return as the character we all know, due to Randy Orton burning him. Personally, I say, thanks for watching. If you like the video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos, hit the subscribe button, and if you have something to say, please leave a comment.
Oh, let me up with a bright smile on now. Put me in the dark, so won't get lost now. To the moonlight, I